You heard a member of our Fox family here. Rachel Campos-Duffy is on board with her 8 children. She is the wife of Congressman Sean Duffy. She now joins us from inside the train on the phone. Rachel, you're with us?
Hi, Harris. How are you guys?
We're okay. We're pretty worried about all of the hundreds of you. And I understand that you saw or experienced something pretty harrowing.
Yeah, well, you know, when I knew we hit something, you couldn't feel it as much, like how awful it was when you were inside the train. We're on a big train. But immediately I ran up the hall because my son had been walking, our oldest son was walking our youngest, and I was worried that he might have, you know, stumbled with the jerk. So as soon as I ran up, they were fine, but looked out the window, and it was a terrible sight. Pretty traumatic for me. You could see the 2 unfortunate drivers on the side of the road, and it was pretty traumatic for me. I've been ejected from a car in a car accident before too, so it was pretty emotional for me. But what was most interesting was they didn't want to let us out of the car to help because they could Capitol Police, and you know this train is highly secured, could smell, you know, gas, and they were afraid there could be an explosion. And frankly, it was so soon they didn't know what it could. You know, I think there were some questions exactly about what else could be out there. But boy, we have some great congressmen here, Congressman Mass, a few others, and me were saying, listen, I don't care. These guys are on the side of the road, and they said, no, you're not allowed to open the door. And as soon as the cops left, the congressmen who went they were doctors. They opened the door and went out to help.
I know you have your 8 children, and we heard from previous guests, congressmen who were with us by phone, say that there were quite a few people who were traveling with their families. That's something you and Sean often do. And it looks like this was the kind of retreat and weekend where that sort of thing was going to be welcome. Did you see other families on board?
Yeah, I mean, all the kids are there. They were all coloring and hanging out when all this happened. But I think the kids are fine, and unless you were looking out the window and could see exactly what devastation this train caused on this poor, you know, garbage truck, you wouldn't have known. And like I said, thank God, I mean, there were physicians on board, and they were brave, and they busted open this door and against orders went out to help the injured. And someone was on, I mean, I could see the CPR going, and sadly one of them they lost, and the other got into the, 2 got into the ambulance, right, you know, fairly soon. But there was a lot of frustration that they couldn't get out. We couldn't get out of the train. The physicians couldn't get out. We're not permitted to because they were worried there could be an explosion. But boy, they didn't care, thank God, and they got the door open.
Hey, Rachel, it's Sandra. I'm so happy to hear that you're okay and your kids are okay. If people don't know, which many of them do if they're watching right now, because your 8 children and you and your husband were on Fox and Friends this morning on Fox News Channel together in Washington. I can't imagine. It must have been so scary for all of them. Have you been given any further instruction as to what you need to do as passengers on that train? Have you heard from Amtrak? What are they telling you to do at this point with your family?
Well, there were firemen and medical people coming down the hall, double checking that there were no other passengers injured. In our car, there was no one injured. And what I'm hearing is that they're trying to figure out how, you know, are they going to cancel the retreat? Are they going to find some other form of transportation for us? I understand that part of the train is derailed. I'll tell you one thing, Sandra, that is concerning to me is my understanding is that with Capitol Police, there shouldn't have been anybody crossing a road across Europe. My understanding was they shut everything down so that we could go for exactly these kinds of reasons. I mean, imagine it could have been, this was a garbage truck, but could have been.
Well, and that's what one of the congressmen had said. You guys had you had choppers flying ahead. I think it was Congressman Pete Sessions. I might be wrong about that, but one of the congressmen we've spoken with today said that the reason that you had so many choppers overhead was to make sure that this was the accident, as they are now investigating it as not officially to us, but that's what people on the ground are telling us, versus anything nefarious happening. And what you're saying is if the tracks were supposed to be cleared, there should have been nothing on them.
That's what comes to my mind, and it makes sense, right? I mean, you think about it, you got half of Congress in this train and their families. So that, as a mom, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is why was that particular road that truck was on that was crossing in front of us, why was it even open?
Hey,
now, maybe it was closed, and maybe that's why that accident happened. I don't have enough detail.
Yeah,
Hey,
we don't know
Rachel,
yet.
Katie Pavlich here. My question, I don't know if you can see the intersection where the truck is. It's clear that it's marked as a railroad, and we don't know if the truck was stopped or if it was stuck, but it was clearly in a marked intersection for that railway. Can you describe the area around the train, around that intersection? Are there homes nearby? Is it more rural?
Yeah. It looks like the suburban area, neighborhood, and neighbors came out immediately. I know there was a member of Congress's wife who saw on the garbage truck there was a phone number. I mean, this is a garbage truck that's, on its side, garbage everywhere, and she had the wherewithal to call the garbage company, who had no idea that their drivers had been injured. So everyone was trying to do what they could to help. And again, these physicians that busted open that door, God bless them, because I was screaming that they should, and they did. These congressmen did the right thing. They busted open that door and went to help them.
Do you know
I don't blame the Capitol Police. I understand too. I mean, there could have been an explosion with the gas and.
Rachel, it's Kennedy. How many kids are on the train?
I don't know. I'm sure we have the most, but
well, isn't that always the case?
It's always the case. But they make this ride as they have crayons and coloring books for the kids. The kids were having fun. I mean, my kids thought they were so excited to get on the train. They thought it was like Harry Potter. They don't get on a train like this often, and they were. To be honest, the kids are fine. Everybody is fine. The tragedy is outside.
Rachel, is the train a common way for members to get to these kinds of retreats, or usually is there a different kind of form of travel?
We've done it by bus, but several times I've done it by train. So they'll get us on we'll all meet at the Capitol, and they'll get us onto a secure bus that then takes us to, and the security is intense because for exactly the reason I told you. If anything happens,
right.
It's half of Congress and their family on this train. So it looks like we're starting to move a little bit. So that's a sign that maybe we're going to go to the next station here soon.
Well, Rachel, Senator Cassidy had told us that once you guys were all back on the train, that's what they were looking to do, that they were going to try to use that one engine that did not derail to get you guys into a better position and maybe on your way. So just moments before we came to you, that's what we had learned. Rachel, you are a member of our family, and wider, of course, members on board, a member of our American family. But most immediately, you sit on the couch here and outnumbered, and we are so glad to know that you and your family are okay. Give a big hug to all of those babies, and Margarita is one of my favorites. So please, kisses and hugs, and our
We're
best.
We're holding them all a little tighter now.
I know.
Thank you guys. I got lots of calls from the Fox family while I've
All right, the train is moving. Rachel, thank you.